That's our Vanessa. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're so excited to have you guys here.
And my name is Dorothy Goldberg. This is Bekka Ross Russell. Most of you know one or both of us. We're very happy that you're here today. And most of you know that with COVID-19, our lives have been kind of turned upside down. I think all of our lives have been turned upside down in one way or another. For the small things, it's been particularly difficult because they've been cut off and quarantined, as we all have. And it's very difficult to keep things going in a situation like this. Bekka originally was going to be here doing a number of parlor meetings and fundraising meetings for the small things, going all over the place. Obviously, she couldn't do that. She did take an evacuation flight, which has brought her here to Portland. So it's good afternoon, good evening. Some people it's good morning. We're here together. But because I have just turned 60, for my sins. David also would have turned 60 very shortly after I did, and we always celebrated our birthday together. And so I thought I would take the opportunity of my own birthday to invite my family and friends and all of you who love the small things to do what David would have asked if he were still alive, which is instead of giving gifts to, to support the small things in any way that you can. Some of you have been incredible supporters in all kinds of different ways over the years. And we thank you and we ask you to keep it up at this time of great need for the small things. So David would have wanted this, and so I do it in his honor. And first I want to share a poem which he loved and I love also. I was a hospice chaplain. David was a hospice medical director and palliative care specialist, and we did a lot of memorial services in our time, some of them together. And this was one of our favorite poems, and it was written by a chaplain called Merritt Malloy. And I'd like to share it with you, and the very last line is actually on David's gravestone. That's how important it was to him and to me. So this is called Epitaph by Merritt Malloy, and it describes how David felt about life.
When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live on in your eyes and not your mind. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands, by letting bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away.
So the Small Things is my organization, but it's never been about one person. You know, nobody does anything alone. It's built off of the work of this incredible woman, Mama Pendo, who's been doing this work in Tanzania for over 30 years. It wouldn't be possible without, all of the work and support that my dad put in and that our family put in, as well as the hard work of the incredible Tanzanian team we have on the ground. So it's really been a group effort to get it to this point, and I think we're really making a huge difference in this community, and we have the potential now to be making an impact across Tanzania. So let me talk you through a little bit about what TST does, just for anyone who isn't as familiar. We have sort of three sets of programs. We have our core work at Happy Family Children's Village, which is our residential care center. These are for the cases, sort of last resort cases, where there is no family that's able and willing to take care of them. And we have about 50 children living there full time, from newborns to age 18. We then have our Family Preservation Services, which are working intensively with a small group of families to help them become independent, build sustainable businesses, and help to create a better future for their families. And then we have our third level, which are our community services. So that's tutoring, microfinance, after school programs, nutrition support, daycare. But all of that is on hold right now because of the coronavirus pandemic across the world. So we have a lot of families and a lot of people who are depending on us. I'm going to give you a little bit of a sneak peek of what that looks like, and including some pieces cut together from a few different times that we did video walkthroughs at the Children's Village. So take a look at this. I hope it gives you a little bit of a sense of what things are like there right now.
We are coming at you from the Children's Village. I'm here with Naima, and I wanted to really show you guys in more detail the impact that your donation is making. I know that a lot of you have been so generous in honor of my father, and that means so much, but I really want to show you the details of what he loved about our organization and what we do. Here we are at Happy Family Children's Village. We are a group of small family-based homes for orphan and vulnerable children, built in honor and loving memory of Amir Vizram, who's the father of the founder of Happy Family Organics, the company that helped us to build this incredible home for all of our children. Right now, with coronavirus happening, we've got a lot of extra precautions in place. We've got these hand sanitizing and hand washing stations everywhere. And with the help of a lot of our incredible donors, we've been able to put in rainwater collection so that the taps never go dry. We're so grateful for your help with that. So here we are in the Memorial Grove. This is a special, tranquil spot where we come to remember the people who've been part of our organization and who we've lost over the years, including the few times that we've lost children and a couple of people who've been pivotal to the creation of TST. In honor of David, over here we have an apple tree growing. Apple a day keeps the doctor away. And it's a space for us to just come and remember him whenever we feel the urge. Family preservation is also going strong. We've got more than 40 families currently enrolled, and over 100 kids who we've supported now and in the past, helping their families to build sustainable businesses so that they're independent and empowered. We're really excited about how it's going. We also have a Vicoba microfinance program that's been helping people to expand their businesses after their initial successes. We're here at the Children's Village in total lockdown. It's very intense, but it's a pretty beautiful place to be stuck if you've got to be here for months at a time. So in order to keep everybody safe here, we've set up hand washing stations everywhere. Nobody is in and out except for my family, and we are also isolated from the broader community. And instead of the usual 40 kids and about 10 staff, we've got about 50 kids and 30 staff all living here right now. So every single nook and cranny is filled. Let's go check out the kids in their homeschool. Here we are outside the Children's Village homeschool, which is set up in what will in future be our preschool buildings. So for now, we've got 8 or 9 grades all squished into our space. We have a couple of outside tents, and then we have some of the middle-aged kids in here. So let's take a peek in quietly, try not to bother them. Hi. Hi, Watoto Wazuri. Yeah. Can you guys say hi to the camera? Say hi, everyone. Hi. Okay. We've had like a 9-month rainy season going here in East Africa. You've probably heard about floods in other countries. We've been pretty lucky so far, but it's definitely getting interesting here. Along the back, you can see we have some areas where the mud has started to go down. We really need to pave this entire area now that we've got the water, the rainwater collection system, which is just down here. We had to remove some of the dirt and earth as well. So again, every day we find some new little project that needs to be done, but that's life with kids. Part of our crazy rainy season, just about a week and a half ago, we had a minor landslide here where one of our retaining walls got so wet, the weight behind it got so severe that it came down. We were able to re-secure it in place and put some better supports in, but it's been a crazy year, and we're really grateful for all your support.
All right.
Okay.
We're gonna go over now to our friend Patty Harris, was a founding board member of the organization and a very, very, very close friend
One colleague.
and colleague of David for many years, who's going to speak really quick. But happy to have you, Patty. Thank you.
Hi, thanks for asking me to do this. It's just such a pleasure. I've been fortunate enough to have known David and Dot and Bekka and Adam. I think most of their lives. And David in particular was just a colleague who was near and dear to my heart for many, many reasons. I first met David in 1991. I was actually a clinical coordinator for a hospice program at our local hospital in Meriden, Connecticut. And he came in one day and joined the hospice team. He was new to the area, relatively new. And immediately I knew that this was somebody that I would be able to work really well with. And that we were like-minded clinicians. In fact, I came home that day. I remember I came home that day from work and said to my husband, David, we just have the most fabulous new member of the team. Mm-hmm. So that was the start. That was 1991. David and I worked together on the hospice team for several years until I left to pursue some other things. But then I continued to be very good friends with both him and Dot, and of course get to know the kids over the years. I just have to say that David was one of those people, one of those rare people in life that you know that you can absolutely trust at any time. Totally trustworthy, probably one of the most kind people, and probably one of the smartest people that I've ever known, way smarter than me. And for that, I respected him always, and always knew that because of his integrity, I could trust anything that, any question I had with him. So that was 1991. Fast forward, we kept trying to figure out ways we might be able to work together again, even though we were friends throughout the years. We always knew we wanted to work together, and we did have another opportunity while he was with Pro Health. They were trying to develop a new palliative care program at home. And he asked me if I would like to participate in that, so I did. So he and I worked together on the SAGE program. I was doing home visits. He and I were meeting regularly. And again, I wanted to do this because he was someone that I knew I could trust and I knew would bring such a wonderful thing to the communities around the state. 2012, I had the opportunity to go to Tanzania and get a look at what was happening with the small things. Bekka had asked me to join the board initially when things first got started, which I was happy to do, and I did. And then in 2012, I traveled to see the small things with Dot and spent 2 weeks there. not only in the orphanage at that time, because Happy Family Village was not built yet and the other things, but Dot and I did do some home visits, some hospice home visits while we were there. And I got to know the children. I got to see the wonderful things that were happening there. Bekka just did an amazing job. So I just want to say to all of you, if you haven't had the chance to go, which a lot of us don't, please trust that this is an organization that is well run, that is run by loving, kind, beautiful people, both in the community and from without. So that's my experience, both with David, with David's family, with Dot, with Bekka, with Adam, and with the small things. So I say to you this evening, please give in David's honor if you can. I know many of you have already given in many, many ways. There are many of us who will continue to give in whatever way we can because we believe in the organization and we really, really want to carry on David's wishes and David's legacy. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Zawadi.
We brought in another kid.
Trouble has joined the broadcast.
Hi,
Yes.
sweetie.
Buddy, my granddaughter.
It's so long.
I know. I can't wait to see you soon.
Okay, sweetheart, there are other people watching this. So we are going to hop over and take a look at an update video that was actually done the last time that Dot was in Tanzania.
I was there last year in 2019.
Yeah, and put together a really great little update video for everyone talking about the progress that was made with the Legacy Fund. So please
And
take a look
what
at
an
that.
incredible amount of change since you were there, Patty, and even since I was last there in 2016, which is what I talk about in the video.
Hello, friends. My name is Dorothy Goldberg. Here in Nkoranga, I am also known as Mama Bekka or Bibi Simoni na Zawadi. It's been amazing to be here. It is August 2019, and the last time that my husband David and I were here was January of 2016. Now, David and I, along with our daughter Bekka, were among the founders of the Small Things, along with some very dedicated volunteers from the UK and the US and Denmark also. From that time in 2011, when there was nothing but an orphanage, this whole children's village has grown up. And I wanted to tell you personally how incredible the change has been, even since 2016. I come here today and I stand here at the Happy Family Children's Village. I stand on a sloped kind of terraced area, and up here there are chickens, there are goats, there's a farm. Below me is a beautiful playground. When I was last here, there was only one staff house and 2 children's houses. The 3rd children's house and also the community building, which now houses the TST's offices and also a library and meeting rooms, those were just foundations at the time. Now I come here and there are 3 children's houses. One houses older girls, one houses older boys, and one houses the youngest children, the ones from 2 up. And everybody lives in harmony here. I had the privilege of seeing the talent show from this year, and what you saw was confident, talented, happy children showing off all their skills, ranging from drawing to building boxes out of cardboard to dancing and singing, and they are incredible children. Also, that whole new building has enabled a whole new group of programs to happen. The old compound in the village of Nkoranga, which used to house the offices and some volunteer quarters, now is a daycare that takes care of, I don't know, when I go in, I see 30 or 40 children, ranging from very young to 8 years old, some kids who need a little bit of extra help before they go into school. They have wonderful, enthusiastic teachers. They've taught me new songs. I've taught them new songs. And again, happy children who run up to me. Every time I walk in, they're, Mama Bekka, nakupendo, I love you, I love you. There is so much love in this place. So as a major donor, I'm speaking to you as someone who has really devoted much of the last 8 years to building this place. When my husband David died, it was his wish to create a legacy fund to make sure that the small things had a cushion for a number of years. We still have that legacy fund, but it will be running out soon. And so I thank you so much for what you've done for the small things. And I also want to let you know that there are a couple of new projects coming up. We will need a 4th children's home because we're going to begin taking babies here at the Children's Village. So we'll need a separate home for that. We will also probably move the daycare up here. We have enough of a presence now that we may move the daycare up, and we'll need a new building for that too. So please help us to keep growing, both in programs and in bricks and mortar projects. This is such a beautiful place. I'm so proud of Bekka, and I'm so proud of all of you, and for everything that we've been able to create together. Thank you so much.
You know, we still have a lot of those same big picture goals, and I think we're going to get there. We're also working on a coalition project, which is spreading best practices work across the country in partnership with organizations both within Tanzania and internationally. But obviously, you know, the current crisis has put a real spotlight on the need to be able to continue just the essential care. We are getting calls from social welfare on a regular basis. We just got one last week for another 3-week-old baby to request that we take into our care because there's nobody else that does family preservation work like we do. So we're really, really grateful for the help that people have given, but we're also really at a point where we're missing my father's guidance as a physician, as a board member, as an individual, and so it's nice to go back and look a little bit on some of his words of wisdom that actually my brother put together in this fantastic little video clip. And see what we can glean from that in this tough time.
These clips were put together when David had already been diagnosed. So you'll notice he wasn't his strongest self, but we have pictures of him when he was.
Yeah.
I love the medicine. I love the patients. I mean, I can be feeling lousy, and I open the room and walk in with a patient, and I'm enjoying seeing them, for the most part. There's a few exceptions. But you're giving of yourself every time. It takes that little bit out of you all the time to do it right. And so when you're not 100%, you're not doing a great job. There's too many. There's wonderful memories of all sorts of different people. I mean, some of them are the people I've had for so many years. As I said in one of my posts, I mean, some of them are friends that I never see except in the office. Yeah. But, you know, first name terms, stories about their lives, stories about, you know, what's going on for them. Very important. And then some people that I've helped a lot who just love me for it, in as much as, you know, I've looked after their dying relative or parent. Yeah. But, you know, I also look around town when I'm driving around. I realise I've visited people on just about every street in town.
There's not a lot of doctors, GPs that go and do
hardly any
anymore.
Hardly any. So over 28 years, whatever it's been, I've done my share.
Yeah.
And never to blow a trumpet, you know. In fact, I didn't really want it to get out because I didn't want too many people coming to me for that service.
Mm-hmm. Are you? How many people over the years do you think you've seen? Different people.
Oh, no idea. I mean, tens of thousands, but I couldn't go better than that. You know, I probably have maybe 5,000 people who would think of me as their long-standing doc, even if they're with somebody now that's not me, or have moved away or whatever else like that. Oh, I've had patients who still will come up from Florida to see me, even though they're living there most of the year. People who drive up from Moodus, from all over the state, when they move away. So it's very touching, it's very kind.
He really loved his patients a huge amount, and his colleagues as well. So we're going to welcome Dr. Stacy Unsworth, one of Dad's long-term colleagues, to join us and speak for a moment as well.
Thank you for inviting me to participate. I practice medicine with David, together with Carlos Valentin and Gabby DeSouza at Wallingford Family Practice. And so I speak for them and the Wallingford Family Practice community. Pardon my reading from notes. I wrote David a letter. Dear David, it has been over 2 years since we let you go. I will never forget that day, the day your mentoring became your legacy. The day problems, big and small, ceased to be insurmountable as long as we began to address them with the 4-word mantra, what would David do? For the first year after you died, your patients came into the office just to sit by your picture and weep. They came to visits with us, their new medical providers, and often they were angry, some very angry, that we weren't you and could never be. You would have waited patiently while they expressed themselves, offered a hand or a hug. You would have negotiated their medical care, respectful of their preferences and their past. So that is what we did, sometimes failing, sometimes flailing, and occasionally getting it almost right. This past year, things have calmed a bit, and now patients regularly share funny remembrances of you. The normal everyday push and pull of managing a practice that feels that it is also a family has always led to debate and discord. You would have done your best to calm everyone and then said, right, this is what we'll do. Sometimes during a rare pause in our staff meetings, I still feel that moment when you would have jumped in and said that. Without your steadying voice, we've rocked a bit more than we might have. But the culture that you established, one of community, of family, has been our steadying force. We've lost some of your patients and made difficult, painful diagnoses in others. Sometimes, often, I've looked in their eyes and known that we share the sentiment that both of us through. And then the fact that we were both thinking the same thing becomes a comfort. And of the pandemic, you would have been right there in the center of it, reassuring, educating, and comforting. And from the depths of it all, you would have rejoiced in all the scientific progress, positive change, and accord that have resulted. You'd have a daily evidentiary analysis of all that we've learned about the virus, the treatment, the strategy. You would likewise have had a daily rant about whatever news came from the White House overnight. And you would have looked ridiculous in your scrubs, but you would have worn them with pride. I have to say, without your daily dose of warmth, humor, and idealism, it has been a hard slog. But I continue every day to say to myself, what would David do? And I answer, be patient, be kind, be curious, think carefully about what is important, really important to you, and take a moment to be satisfied. The day after David was diagnosed, he came into the office and stated very clearly that what he wanted was his legacy to be the small things. And so if you are somebody from ProHealth, somebody who's a colleague, somebody who's a patient or a friend, I would encourage you to continue to support his legacy that he chose, and continue to support the small things. Thanks.
Oh, Stacy, such beautiful words. Yeah, we're all verklempt, right? Thank you so much for you summed him up so well, and I know
really
how much
beautiful.
he loved working with you, with all of you.
Thank you.
So thank you so very, very much for those gorgeous words.
I think you captured it really perfectly when you said, you know, at the end of the day, what it comes down to is being kind and taking those moments and really, you know, just being there with people and being there for each other. And yeah, it's really beautiful. Thank you. And so anyone out there who is wanting to make a difference right now, because it's really easy to feel helpless. There's a lot of terrible stuff going on in the world. But there really is an opportunity here to make a concrete, a real difference for people who are in fairly dire need right now. And that's not something that's all that common. You know, as much as organizations like the American Heart Association and the American, you know, the whatever, they're incredible. They do incredible work. Your $50 isn't necessarily going to be the difference between a cure for cancer being found or not. But $50 here can go a really long way. And so I'm going to show you a little bit about what kind of impact you can actually have with a fairly, you know, with even with limited resources. Okay, so our mamas, our child carers are the most incredible women, and they are on full-time care right now for all of the kids that live with us. So we would really love, we're sending every month extra support baskets for their families with rice, beans, cooking oil, sugar, sanitizer, tea, everything that they could need. And as Tanzania is experiencing some serious struggles right now, it's an especially important time for us to be supporting the families that love these kids so much. This is one of the children's food baskets. So this will cover food for 3 months for one of the kids at Happy Family Children's Village. Will be $120. That used to last us 4 months, but now that they're at the Children's Village, they just never stop eating, which I think is something I've heard from every parent who's had a kid home during this time. So, you know, we have some things in common, clearly. Fund a need. These small businesses are a really amazing opportunity to make a sustainable long-term difference in somebody's life for really a small amount of initial investment. You know, we have an initial startup grant and some startup loans, and then do ongoing support, education, and follow-up. And we've been able to keep over 200 children home in their families where they belong through this type of support by empowering their usually single parents and other incredible caregivers who love them. And your $300 will cover starting a business and the first 6 months of follow-up. And we'd be profoundly grateful. Our student teachers are incredible young men and women who have been helping. They stay with us for 1, 2, or 3 years, and we pay for their schooling for an equivalent number of years. So it's a really great setup for everyone. It's a way for us to encourage really bright young adults in the community and also have incredible role models for our young children. It costs us, over the course of a year, it costs us about $700 to host them and pay their stipend. And during this period, they have been even more essential than they usually are. It's really been a lifesaver throughout the pandemic, and the kids are really thriving because of it. We have a lot of outreach children who are still stuck at home. Tanzania is talking about reopening schools, but it's not 100% clear for primary schools yet. Regardless, we have a lot of outreach children who don't have books at home, and who would benefit immensely from the ability to get books for 10 of our outreach kids for $100 to keep them educated even when they're at home. We've also had some severe storms going on in this past couple of months. Again, it's been nuts in East Africa recently. So we had one person come forward already with $500. That was from the Plantovins, I believe. Thank you so much. If anyone else is out there and would like to donate another $500 so we can fix the other structural issue that we've had, we'd be very, very, very grateful. And then looking, here's everything. Here's all of what it costs. When we have a child, basically their caregivers, their school care, their medical care, everything that they need, every expense that is involved in directly taking care of them comes out to $200 a month. It sounds like a lot, but if you're a parent of young children in the US right now, you'll know that it's a lot more expensive than that. And they deserve it. They're wonderful, wonderful kids, and they really, need and deserve this support. So our sponsorship program is a great way for people to make a real difference, and also get to know the children and develop a relationship over time. There are
Partial sponsors.
They start at just $15 a month and go up from there. And it's just a really exciting, really great way to get to know the kids that are in our care. So let's, hold on. Still on screen. So, yeah. What? I think you guys missed the video, the sound on that video. I'm sorry about that. But basically, sponsorship is a really amazing way to get to know these kids and to make a real difference. If you go to thesmallthings.org/DRR, you can either make a one-time donation or sign up for a longer-term sponsorship, and we would be profoundly grateful.
The other thing that's important about sponsorship is that it's an ongoing source of income for us. So that enables us to not have to come constantly and say, can you give us more money? Can you give us more money? When you are a sponsor, you're giving a little bit of money every month, anything from $15 to, I actually sponsor 2 kids completely fully. And, so anything in between there, we'll take it. And it means that you're connected for a period of time. Very important.
And the kids really love their sponsors. It's their favorite thing to send letters and pictures. And so we're really grateful for the support of everybody who has joined us tonight. And now we're going to let you hear directly from Dad why it was so important to him. So at the heart of it, here's what it comes down to.
There is something that I've been involved with for a number of years that is also extremely important and has a future. And that is the organisation The Small Things that has been set up and is run by my daughter Rebecca. It is an organization in Tanzania that looks to improve the future of children who are born mainly as orphans, their mothers dying in childbirth, or for other reasons abandoned by families, or where the families are unable to cope. They are doing incredible work.
I asked everyone to come here and listen to this, not as a sob story or as a simple appeal on my behalf. This disease and my life has been teaching me that I, and probably everyone here today, have been the luckiest people in the world. We have more than average security, we have consistency in our lives, and we have had huge opportunities. What I am asking, in short, not for me, but for yourselves, is to pay it forward. Take some of what you have received and put it in a place where it can do so much to provide security, education, and a future for those who otherwise have none of these. There are many good causes, but TST is certainly one with the potential for local and system change that work and can be modelled all over Africa. The legacy fund that I am establishing with $100,000 seed money from our family will try to ensure that the month-to-month vagaries of fundraising will be less of a burden, so the work of changing lives goes on uninterrupted. Finally, I want you to know this is evidence-based. Making donations has been shown to enhance your quality of life and happiness. I will never forget the love and support you have shown tonight and since my diagnosis. My family and I thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We can do no great things, only small things with great love.
All right. It's really nice to hear from him in his own words, although it's hard to watch, of course, now.
The difference that a month made in those two videos. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, now it's our job to carry on. And I would just like to, where we are here, it's hard to see everybody who's on the show, but we want to thank you for being here. And we also want to do a shout out to the people that we see have given already. And I hope that you'll, take some time if you haven't given to donate. And so let's see. I want to thank, there's someone anonymous.
You know what, just before we go into that, let's anyone who would like to join us on the call to say something about Dad, to share a memory or to say something about our work or anything else, click the button or go to the link, thesmallthings.org/join, and you'll be led in to the backstage area.
Green room.
In the meantime, we just want to thank some people individually who have been giving in the last few minutes. So thank you to the Mordic Taubmans. Thank you, Judy. That's a wonderful gift. Let's see. Thank you to the Plantovins, who we mentioned earlier. Judy.
David, thank you to David and Ellen and Richard and Rick and Ann. We will send you proper thank you notes, but we want you to know Kyra, Jill, Susie.
We really appreciate it. It means so much, and we're really trying to get to $6,000 tonight in honor of the 60th birthday. So we're really hoping that more people will come in and donate what you can while we're doing these last updates. So do we have anybody who is going to join us on the screen yet?
Nobody else in the room
yet. If not, just go ahead. If you're ready, just go ahead to thesmallthings.org/join, and it'll be a really nice opportunity to share just a couple of your memories or whatever pieces that you feel are that this sort of brings up. As you're thinking about it.
Simon, did you want to say anything, or Zawadi?
Yeah.
Zawadi was aching to say something before, but now she's gone.
All right.
Or people can post live. Yeah, that's the other thing. People can post live if they want to.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can see that.
Yeah.
I didn't know Babu that well, but when I used to go to BB's house, I used to hang out with him a lot. He would read us stories. I remember him reading us the stories, the voices he'd put on, it just makes me sad to think that he's gone. He looked so well before he died, but he lives in our hearts and he lives in us. Thank you.
Absolutely, he does. So we wanted to do a shout out to Michelle Gomez, who was David's colleague and friend also, and Judy Burke, who's here in Connecticut, here in Oregon. Sorry, what state am I in?
All right. Okay, is there anyone? Let's see. We're going to need. All right.
Okay, nobody's in the room, so we're good to go. Do we have a final?
We have a few more donations coming in right now.
Excellent.
A little bit from Michelle, some from Marcy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That goes so far here, and we have another couple of hours. Here it's still early in the day. We will be posting this in the group, and hopefully more of his colleagues, friends, patients, and others who remember him with such great, wonderful words and stories. Will be able to join as well. We really appreciate it.
And this will be recorded too, so
Yep,
anybody who
saying, yeah.
hasn't been able to be here can see the link online. So that's great. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. And I want to thank Josh and Sean who helped us to put this together. Josh is in New Zealand. Sean is in Vancouver, BC. And of course,
Cheryl, thank you so much. The Pro Health people are always so wonderful. Thank you for your generous donation. That's going to go so far here. So thank you guys so much. If anyone wants to hop on and say something, you're very welcome at thesmallthings.org/join. Or donate through the page. We really appreciate it. Maybe we can put on our last video, which is the one of the mamas singing. Do we have that accessible? Yeah, and then we've got a last little thank you at the end as well. So let's put those up there. We're just having 1 second.
Just a few minutes, and then not a few minutes.
A few
seconds.
Technical.
Exactly. You know any good jokes?
No. Not even close.
Oh, the mama's singing wasn't anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I think we have a little extra time, so we can either put that in or we can go straight to the thank you video. Either way. We have another $50 donation from Jill. Oh, from Ann and Jill. Thank you so much. That's so kind.
Thank you so much.
All right. So let's throw on our last video and wrap things up for
Sounds good.
tonight.
Thank you everybody for being here. And we're still here. We're all here. You can give anytime. Hi Cheryl, nice to see you commenting. Great to have you here.
Thank you.
We really appreciate all your support. You guys are great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Dante. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hasta